Good evening, dear friends. It is now 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live from Hell's Kitchen, New York City. A beautiful, balmy 34 degrees, and I'm so happy you could join us. I had such a great time last night, and I hope that we can do it again. I'm so glad you could be a part of this, and I welcome you. I'd like to go through a couple of things, the way I see it, to kind of give you a little chance to back up, slow down, and look at what we're talking about here. And there are some recitations of obvious fact, which I'd like to provide. I'd like to give you just a basis, kind of articles of faith of how critical thinking applies and what we could think and should think in no particular order. In no particular order. Number one, did you see tonight's version 2, Dr. Jerri and Mr. Hyde? Did you see that? Did you see? Who saw that? Did you watch that? I was very upset this week. Last night I said, "Where is this? What's going on? Is it 5:30? I don't see it. There's no mention. She would have said something. I mean, she's gonna do it, right? There is a part 2, isn't there? I mean, what's going on here? Normally there's a thing ahead of. Finally, she showed up. Hey, yes. Now, you saw it. It was compelling. Now, if you had to explain what happened, could you? Could you give me the names, the storyline, how it worked out, what was alleged, what was averred, what was claimed, what was proven, the names, the connection, the theme. What was the theme of it? Never even got to Erika, for the most part. It was this fascinating background. It's kind of like a review, like a background version of the facts. And I found it fascinating. As being a conspiracist most of my adult life, I enjoyed that. I've been saying pretty much what Candace was saying for the first time. First, that throughout history, the deep state, police state, shadow government, intel state, ruling class have always done two things. First of all, it's their family, which is led, believe it or not, to homozygotic inbreeding, hence the Habsburg jaw and others, deformations like frankly, the royal family. And also, it used to be clerical, it used to be, linear. There's consanguinity, there's bloodlines, per stirpes is another. It's kind of like the way you inherit property. But this has been going on forever. And there were people who were from a particular class. That's why cousins married. That's why the royal family were basically all, I think at one particular point, the three kings of the world, France, Germany, and England, were cousins. This isn't something I made up. I'm not advocating it. It's a fact. So what Candace was doing is she said, let's look behind the story of Erika and see who the Franzvies are from. I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but let's see who they are. And it was fascinating. It was fascinating. Now, when you do that, what are you met with? Now, the other group of people, and I don't know if they're paid, I don't know if they're on their payroll. There's a particular document that's going around today on X that seemed to indicate or wanted to intimate and indicate that it was a list of the following people who were being paid. Well, I don't know about the provenance of that or the accuracy or the authenticity of that, but it was kind of interesting. But I think we all know that whether people are paid deliberately in cash or some in-kind contribution, or whether people just feel it's a part of the movement, there are people who are acting in concert. And they're saying things basically based upon a rote, kind of a Pavlovian response, all using the same word. You've seen these documents. Demon. She's a demon. She's a demon. She's a demon. Why is it that the top 20, 30, whatever influencers all happen to use the word demon? When was the last time you called somebody a demon? I also am amazed. I thought some of the top names were rather independent. I like some of them. I thought they were independent. I thought they acted kind of on their own. I didn't think they were bought and sold like some street trollop standing on the corner. I don't know. I'm surprised. I'm thinking, what's in it for you? So, I don't know if anybody understood anything that Candace was saying today. I know if I don't think anybody listened to her first version. I don't think they care about listening. Because if you did listen, tell me what she said that was wrong. Tell me the provenance, the history, the curriculum vitae, the backgrounds, the research studies, the names, the prior marriages, where they're from. Tell me what's wrong. I wouldn't know where to start. This is some of the driest defamation anybody's ever heard. I don't think they even got to Erika. I don't think they mentioned Erika. And she's laying the background. I find it fascinating because I have always found it interesting to see how the background works. Whether it's Hollywood, whether it's Nepo babies, whether it's any particular insular group. But what they did was they came out, as you know, the other day, en masse, and they said, okay, here's what you're going to do. Demons, they almost wrote the tweets for you. Let me also go back and remind you of something which happened a while back. Up 2020, we know what happened then. And I'm telling you in case you just tuned in. And by the way, thank you for joining. There's a fellow named Moby. Moby was, I guess it was a DJ or something. I don't even know. But he wrote in 2017 or 18 an interesting piece that a lot of people covered, but I think people forgot about it. He said that he was approached by the CIA. He called him the CIA. And by the way, we use words like CIA, FBI, Mossad, or Intel to define a particular group of people. Many of these people are not part of a group per se. That's how they maintain plausible deniability. They say, well, I don't work for the FBI. No, I work for DNI. I work for Naval Intelligence. I work for the, what's that one, the geographic, whatever. That's another one, another story altogether. So they're true. They're correct in that I don't work for the CIA. Our good friend, come here, Kitty. That's fun saying this. Says, congrats. Being on Solo Fleet Clip was hilarious. I'd say again, you're the adult in the room with wisdom and a side of humor. Yes. I showed that to my beloved Mrs. L. She says, did you do this? I said, no. Who did this? I said, I don't know, but it's funny. Well, what is this? I don't know. I sent it to friends and family. I said, well, I've made it. I'm dressed as a ballerina and a New York Knick. Very funny. But thank you very much for your kindness. But I don't think anybody really understood this. So let me go back. And please forgive me, because like I'm warning you, my head's going crazy. I've been up forever, and I'm thinking things, and I'm crazy, but in a good and creative way. Let me give you an example of something. How many of you great friends were interested in the Kennedy assassination? That's really where I got my start. A lot of us in my generation. I was 5 years old. And I was home from school. I remember watching, I remember it, As the World Turns, and my mother's crying. What happened? He goes, Kennedy, they killed Kennedy. I say, why? And I think, this is weird. Prime time, it was wild. And because it was black and white and grainy, we had elephant ears. We had those two. We had rabbit ears. It was almost more authentic. Wow. Walter Cronkite came on TV, and it was incredible. Okay. Almost immediately, people said, I wonder who that was. I wonder what's going on. Did she know? What about, now remember, what was she? Class? A widow. A newly minted widow who was this far away from the president. And if that bullet had been off just by a smidgen, she would have been vaporized. Did we ever say that? Excuse me, this is a widow? How dare you? Do we have a Meghan McCain or a Dan Bongino? Oh, he's a piece of work, huh? I wish he was that enthusiastic when he was lying about the cause of death of Mr. Epstein. How he didn't really care about what particular children might or might not have been saved had he been a little bit more aggressive during his, 2-hour stint with the FBI? But I digress. But nobody ever says, she's a widow. Would you understand? Shut up. Excuse me. It's the president. She's a widow. Well, what about Rose, the mother? That's the mother. She's a orphan. No, she's a mother of the deceased. Stop it. it. Well, you know, we're talking about Dr. Martin Luther King. What about Coretta? She's a widow. God damn it, she's a widow. Would you stop with a widow? I know. How can I talk? Everybody invariably has a widow. Okay, Bobby Kennedy. Ethel Kennedy. God damn it, she's a widow. You know, I think Bobby Kennedy could be a little bit more aggressive in his vaccine. Don't you understand his father was murdered? That's the way we do it. I've been doing it to people, you know, say, hey, did you see Trump? You know, Trump, don't you understand his brother died early? Well, give it a shot. Since when does this work? Since when does this work? It's ridiculous. It's insane. And the best was they get Meghan McCain out there and these other people. I don't know who. I really don't. I swear to you, I don't really know who they are. I kind of do. I don't really follow a lot of them. But I'm thinking, this is it? Did any of you have any refutation as to what Candace said? Is she wrong about anything? We don't know. Did any of these sit there and take a script, take the transcript, run it through ChatGPT or something, say, can you independently verify this? No. They just want to go out there and start screaming. And the gold standard for losing his mind, like I told you, if there was a competency hearing, if there was we used to call them a Baker Act, any kind of was it 5150 or 50, whatever the mental health hearings are, if it ever involved Mr. Bongino, he has some wonderful, wonderful nicknames, by the way, I would just play that for you. Say, this man's crazy. He shouldn't drive a car, much less handle sharp objects. He's out of his mind. And none of it was considered over the top. Within that particular stratum of naysayers, it was a badge of courage. Boy, that was good. Hey, that was great. That was great. What are you talking about? He's made a damn fool. No, he didn't make a damn fool out of himself. It was great. Meghan McCain, oh, she's like, would you leave him alone? At long last, have you no decency? And meanwhile, Candace says, what? That's it? That's the best you can do? And she's got pictures of Erika in the school, and the haircut, and the mother, and Jerri, and the biz, and where they worked. And, oh my God, the research. It's incredible. Now, next point. Do you know why we like this? Why we're interested? Because we are. Because we are. I don't have to explain to you why something interests me. I know a friend. I've got a friend of mine who is a cricket fanatic. He gets up on whatever the time is for the cricket championships. Why? Because he likes it. And it's a free country, and that's it. He likes it. I know people who are Civil War reenactors. I know people who go out and play golf. I know people who do a lot of things. I find this interesting. I am so compelled. It's like watching Dynasty. It's like watching, remember the old days when you had, did you ever watch Dynasty? When you had, these two, it was just wonderful. It was, JR and Sue Ellen, and, it's like a soap opera. You get so involved in these people. And it's funny how it went from a story which was pretty cut and dry theoretically, and now I don't know what to believe. I don't know. I cannot tell you what to believe. Now, I'm not going to believe something is one way just because it would be interesting if it were true. I don't know. I just simply don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I don't have to explain to anybody why I find this interesting. Period. I don't understand this. Now, here's another thing for you. Oh, before I forget. There is a book that we have. I don't even want to give you the name of it. It is so raunchy, you won't believe it. And speaking of which, our good friend Fishman says, from what I've heard, Bongino and many others crash outs over Candace is because they've been paid to say things like demonic. Matt Walsh blew the whistle 2 days on Twitter. Yes, I believe. Thank you very much. I believe that's certainly a very workable hypothesis as to why. We've always heard about this. But let me go back to you. I'm so de starura with Moby, and I'll get back to this. The CIA went to him and said, Moby, because that's your name, or should I call you Dick? Your social media platforms, you've got couple of million there. This was in the old days when it really mattered. I mean, if you had 1 million, 5 million, that meant something. Now in India, they've got 10-year-old kids unboxing a curling iron. They got 20 million. It's bizarre if it's real. Anywho, they said, "Could we have your platform? Can we have it? Can we borrow it? Can we use it? Can we keep it? Can we? Do you mind? Do you mind if could we use it? Rather than, have you tweet something, just give us your password and let us work our magic, and then we'll rent it for a while and we'll pay you." Mum's the word. I always suspected that Rob Reiner, who was tragic what happened to him, irrespective of his politics, but how, and by the way, how, yet again, another lunatic, how the people, look at poor Martin Short. Well, that was an adopted daughter, but still, it's his family. She is off himself. Nick, his son, is a lunatic. I mean, have you ever thought about how the percentages, think about this, the odds of any child being trans or truly trans, if that is a word, maybe that's a redundancy, or not a redundancy. Maybe that's oxymoronic. A legitimate trans. But you probably don't know anybody. My Mrs. L and I have known. We've been in New York. She's been in show business forever. We know one actual man who became a woman and went through such hell after the surgery, but a real, legitimate, bona fide, actual transgender. So they're very, very rare. And in New York. Now, if you lived in a community, let's say Hollywood, and instead of there being one child, what if I told you there were 30? Now, in a very small population, for you to have 30, I give the number 30, it could be 10, 12. The numbers are without a doubt very suspicious. Bobby says, it would appear some of our influencer friends missed a few Thorazine doses. Yikes. Indeed, Meloril, Thorazine, psychotropics, antipsychotics. Thank you, sir. Absolutely. So my point is, what if I told you the following? Tell me if this makes sense to you. If I said, remember the old Faustian deal, making a deal with the devil, making a bargain, kind of like if I said, how would you like success? Because let's face it, the movie career, it's going, the theaters are closing, the theater system, studios, everything's just collapsing. CBS is going to be, it's all of them. Did you see where the Ellisons bought Warner Brothers? They're going to be doing that. It's all. So anyway, no, I think they jumped. I think it was the Ellisons. Netflix, by the way, is doing a tell-all on Rupert Murdoch. And do you think they're going to spare the horsepower? No. If you said, don't you understand? Rupert Murdoch's parents are dead. Use the same Candace arguments. Let's say, what does that have to do with it? I don't know. Give it a shot. Remember, that only applies to Erika. You can't say anything about her because she's a widow. No other widow, doesn't matter. She's the only one. So what I'm trying to say is, if let's say in Hollywood, let's assume for the sake of argument, we have 100 really serious movie stars, if the term even applies today. And of that 100, let's say I've got 20 trans, fluid. I'm doing a lot of air quotes. I'm getting carpal tunnel doing this a lot. Do you know the odds against that? 20%? Oh, no. Put it this way. If you had 20% in any population of anything, there'd be a pandemic. So something tells me, or let me rephrase it. I wouldn't be surprised if they said, we will pay you. We will take care of your bills and your lifestyles. Because some of these people, they haven't worked in I don't know how long. And they're gazillionaires. What if they went to them and said, we'll take care of you, but you got to give us your firstborn? Okay. Is that beyond the realm of possibility? Is that beyond? Answer yes or no. The answer is no, of course not. These people have no soul. If I told you the stories of how many people in show business who offered up their children, we can go back as far as, Shirley Temple and go back to the Clara Bow days. So what I'm saying is these people are demented. So when Candace shines light on these people, kind of who they are and what they do, not to mention you see them en masse, where each of them, by the way, remember, they're competing. They're competing. When Dan Bongino decided to give up, was he 2 weeks? How long was he in the? Let me do this. I'm curious about this. I always like to refer to myself as, I like to look at the questions. I want to find this out. I want to see, I guess the question is, how long was Dan Bongino with the FBI? I think this is very important. By the way, assistant director, which wasn't bad. He was there, 12 years. Recently. He was there before, but recently in his position, he was there for 9.5 months. 9.5 months. Dan Bongino did not serve as an FBI agent, whatever. In a typical case, he was appointed deputy director by President Trump. From March 17th of 2025 until January 3rd of 2026, about 9.5 months in total before stepping down. He had no prior career work as an FBI agent before that appointment. So 9.5 months, old blood and guts decides he's going to step down, if whoever it's worth. He's going to be doing his own podcast. And he said, I'm going to show you how it's done. You want to see somebody who's crazy? Watch this. I'm going to go berserk. And even his fellow opinion trollops, whores, said, wow. I mean, he went above and beyond. So you have these people, going back to Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner was tweeting almost 24 hours a day at some point. And some people I know said, I don't think he's doing that. I don't think that's his, I don't think he's tweeting. I think somebody else is. Because first of all, he's not that assiduous in terms of how much amount of time. Same thing with the same thing. Have you noticed with De Niro? De Niro's got how many ex-wives does he have? De Niro doesn't know what he's doing. De Niro is by the way, De Niro is retarded. I'm sorry to say that word. I really should stop. But he's stupid. He is really stupid, profoundly. And you would think somebody who's that great of an actor would be a little bit better. He's terrible. So when he came out, he never said anything. He never did anything. He never explained anything. He was awful. And they brought him out the other day. Did you see him cry? You know why he cried? Because he realized, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. He's 80 years old. Oh. Ask him about Belushi's last moments on Earth. This guy goes back. Woo, woo, woo. But he's one of these folks that they got. Remember Barbra Streisand? Remember her? Bab? Remember Bette Midler? She was on every day. She was going crazy. We don't see him anymore. And you realize, we think maybe they might have been. Who knows? Because let me tell you something. If you think these people are making money, you're out of your mind. They haven't had a hit. They haven't. You know how many great people. Who was it? Eric Clapton recently said, I go on tour. I'm almost 80 years old. It's because my songs don't make any money. People have heard Layla. How many times are they playing Layla? It was big then. So these people live in a world where they really need something. They really need help. And I wouldn't be surprised if USAID came forward and put some work together. You know who else I wouldn't be surprised if they're backing? The Kennedys. If you ever ask yourself, where the hell did the Kennedys get all this money from? There's about 1,000 of them, in-laws, cousins, brothers, wives, ex-wives. What property? Okay, look, I mean, they're deep state, I understand that. But don't be surprised if they were. That's right, remember they all came out in unison after Bobby? When he was bold regarding vaccines, not anymore, but in any event, Candace is spot on about something. Candace is spot on about the people and the underlying current of who these people are. And it's always been like that. So what she's doing is she's laying the groundwork. It's a hypothesis, perhaps, maybe a theory. But that's the problem. And they're going berserk. So the other day I said, I've got these friends. Do you really believe in Candace? I said, believe what? No, what she's saying. About what? What do you mean? I don't accept everything. There's a fellow named Nick Fuentes. Okay? Nick Fuentes, I'd say, maybe 80% of what he said is just, it's crazy. Not that he's crazy, but it's like, it's just politically, he's a young man, he's just trying to raise hell. And if he's not what people call anti-Semitic or racist, we'll put it this way. If that's an act, he's a tremendous actor. Okay? But every now and then, he would say something very politically astute. And I thought, you know what? There's something to be said for that. Now, do I agree with everything he said? Of course not. Come Here Kitty says, everyone viewing should click like and subscribe to support Lionel. Do it now. Best show. Thank you, sir. Or ma'am. Or kitty. So what I'm saying is, let me go back again. Do I agree with him? Regarding what? Do you agree with him? Maybe if there's an opinion, but by the way, Nick Fuentes is not the only person to say this, so no, I don't. It's not about agreeing with Nick. It's the idea. I like the idea. It's not him. I like the idea. They don't understand that. They don't understand this. When Tucker was on with Mike Huckabee, I said, do me a favor. Don't say anything about who said what. Tell me the idea. And tell me your opinion about the idea. Don't say, well, you know, Tucker said this, and Huckabee said this, and when Huckabee heard about the and the Levant. No. Tell me the idea, and we'll argue about the idea. Does it make sense or not? They couldn't do that. They couldn't do it because they didn't. When you ask people, they didn't hear it, and they didn't understand it. They didn't understand it. And here's the thing. I don't listen to these people. But if somebody says something, no matter who it is, just like if somebody says something that you like, and they say something stupid, it's the idea. I don't endorse a person. I endorse the idea. And what happened with Candace is Candace said some things that were interesting. Remember, she talked about her friend Charlie. She asked questions about what happened with Charlie. What happened to him? How did people react? Did people know what was going on? Could they have prevented this? Were they in on it? You always ask if there's an inside job. Always do. No matter what. It's like people say, you always suspect the wife or the spouse. So when they did this, which is the most important thing, she then went and they talked about her. And you and I know her behavior was bizarre. I don't have this right now, but I've got this. Somebody sent me a link from Instagram. Who was it? The woman who did her makeup or something. Her makeup artist is listing what she wore, the foundation and this and that. And I said to somebody, do not be surprised if next you're going to see a makeup or a clothing line with Erika Kirk. Who thinks that's crazy? Now, I'm not going to say won a bet, but would it surprise you? Makeup and, hair care, skin care, whatever it is. You think that's beyond the realm of possibilities? Maddie says, do you cover the Jewish conspiracy, aliens, and conspiracies of all sorts too? Would love your take on all that. Watching this Erika stuff going down too. Yes. Well, put it this way. Any kind, when you say a conspiracy, if it's interesting, I'm interested in it. Whatever it is. If it's interesting. And the reason, remember, a conspiracy, and I'm glad you brought that up, and thank you, by the way. A conspiracy means an agreement, a confederation between two or more guilty people to bring about or effectuate something. That's what a conspiracy is. The word conspiracy, the way we use it, means crazy, intrigue, what's the word? Dangerous or contested. That's not what we think. A conspiracy means two or more people. So when somebody says, is there a conspiracy? I normally would say, well, yes, but there actually may be more. The words that we use, a lot of this, absolutely positively, you've got to spend some time focusing on what you're talking about. You really, and I've been doing this forever. Alex Jones has said some things that were just, by the way, it's not that he said it, he directed me to either research or something which validates what it is he's saying. What's interesting too, and I want you to understand this, and please don't take it the wrong way, because I think the world, as you know, of Candace. But she's not running for office. She's not a philosopher. She's like you. She's like me. They'll say something, which I think that's very interesting. That's an interesting take. Let me go with it. So I want you to stop right now and understand. If you like what Candace has to say, you don't have to explain it to anybody. You don't know anybody an explanation. But what you like is the idea, the facts, the hypothesis, the theories, what she's presenting. It's interesting. They like the way, that's an interesting operational theory. She's not running for office. It's not where you buy everything. And if she said something 5 years ago that you may disagree with, we're not talking about what she said 5 years ago. We're not talking about her, believe it or not. It's what she's saying. Let me tell you what I like. Number one, first of all, I love people with guts. I really do. People who, she is the type of person that the more you come after her, the more she loves it. She almost, it's like those people in Fight Club. You hit them and they like it. You hit them and they don't go down. You hit them and they respond with a resilience you can't believe. She loves it. She absolutely loves it. Number two, she's brilliant. I don't know if you, I know you did today. If you listen to her recitation of the facts, which is really what I really like the most. When somebody knows the facts of the case, that's what blows me away. I don't care if you're reading off a prompter. I'm sure she has some note just to remember the sequencing of where she's going with this. Try reading that and sound coherent and cogent. Try it. She has a complete and total underlying operational grasp of the facts. And the facts are tough. They're not as easy as you put it this way. I don't think Erika would understand this. I'm going to say something that I shouldn't say because, after all, she's a widow. And you know how that goes. But Erika is not very bright. I'm sorry to say that. If you look at what she's saying, she's not very bright. And sometimes I think a lot of it kind of sort of gets past her. And I don't think she really understands all of the intricacies of it. That's just my observation. And by the way, I'm very right about these things. The next thing we're seeing here is I hate when people are ganged up on. It's something about me that drives me crazy. When rap and hip hop first started here in the Bronx, where it started, whether you liked it or not, Greg Allman said rap was short for crap. And I used to always say, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. And I'm not a fan of it. I don't listen to it, but I respect the fact that it is a new form of music. And by the way, probably the most important thing in the world, which leads me parenthetically to if you ask me, do you know why I love my country? Why am I the proudest of my country? Why am I the proudest? I'll tell you why. Music. We gave the world music that nobody could have even imagined. Every time they hum something, they owe it to us. So my point is, I respect people who advance something I may either not like or disagree with, but I love the idea of free speech. Next, there's something about, and this is the most important. Did you notice how many of you great people found yourself involved in following this after they started to pile on Candace from everywhere. I mean, at first she said some things like, well, that's interesting. There's a lot of issues going on. A lot of issues going on. Hers wasn't the only issue. But how many of you found out, you know what? This is the part. This isn't fair. This is the part. This is the part where I understand. This is when I'm jumping in. And this is where I love the fact, I don't know why they're telling her she can't talk. And also people are jealous of her, as you know, which is the cosmic glue that keeps everything going. They're so jealous, it's not even funny. But I thought to myself, let the woman speak. This was her friend. And they kept saying, they were brutal. Well, she just did that because she wanted Charlie for herself. And I said, hey, her friend just died. You know, I tried it in reverse. Maybe that will work. They went after her. I said, would you please talk about the facts? Her husband and her kid. And what does she know about? And the Macron thing. Excuse me. Would you please talk about this? Let me give you another example. Hillary Clinton. Whatever you think of Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton went before this kind of a testimonial, this deposition, so to speak, in Chappaqua, in Westchester County here in New York. Hillary Clinton said, I'll answer your questions. I think you're full of shit. I think you should talk to Trump. I never met the guy, and that's it. Did she say, leave me alone? Do you know what I've been through? My mother died. You know, she didn't know. She answered the question. Everybody else answers the question. They refute it. They rebut it. They disagree with it. They just do it. Not here. Why is that so? I don't understand it. Not one person. Go down the list. And I couldn't tell you who everybody was, but I just thought somehow it was this Meghan McCain. It's like, is she still at it? What is her point? What do you stand for? No, seriously. There's another woman. Her name is Maureen Callahan. Absolutely brutal, but funny as hell, smart as a whip. She tears apart. Oh my God. The palace, the royals, Hollywood. She's hysterically funny. Meghan Markle. Oh, I mean, fangs are out. Meghan Markle they don't say, how dare you? She's of mixed race. The only one who gets the how dare you is Candace. Excuse me, Erika, what am I saying? Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Who was it who came up and said, remember the old joke that said there was a fellow who killed both parents and then threw himself at the mercy of the court, claiming he now was an orphan. Remember that one? Remember that? Okay. Why all of a sudden is her status as a widow, does that eliminate us from commenting when in fact you're talking about how a widow normally acts or does not act? And I think all of us, I don't want to speak on behalf of everybody, but I think we all were particularly disgusted by the fact of that funeral scene where she's hanging over the body and she showed the picture of Charlie's hand. That's what got me. That was my red pill, or that was my black pill, or that's whatever that was. That sent me off the cliff. I said, no. I still can't believe she did that. That's the part that I absolutely went berserk over. You know, sometimes people in the course of tragedy will act in different ways. Maybe they'll exploit it just a tad. I don't know. Maybe listen, but this was like nothing else. That was number one. And I don't know why. Maybe there's something wrong. I'm thinking, was there something in why did it trigger me so? I don't know. The second was at Amfest or whatever this was. They had a replica of the canopy of the site where Charlie was destroyed in front of everybody. It was like to see this. Some say there might have been an exit wound, not an entrance wound. I don't know. Anyway, who said that? Who said, oh, one more thing. Let's have a... You would have a what? Yeah, let's, if we could, let's... Do you think that... What if President Trump had at Mar-a-Lago or the White House a version, a canopy, so to speak, a facsimile of Butler, of when he almost lost his life? You would say, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference? That's the thing that I don't really, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Fishman says, lost my 14-year-old lab, Bo, last March. I was devastated for months. And then there's Erika. They say action speaks louder than words. Wow. First, my heart breaks for you. I cannot, I don't know what it is. I don't think words can explain the loss of a pet and how shocked you are. I mean, you knew you loved him. You knew he was special, but you never knew how connected you were to them. And I appreciate it. Oh, by the way, thank you, Way Out. Thank you so much for that. These... when I see how we overreact to things, it blows my mind. I know that we have bread and circuses notwithstanding. We went completely apeshit or batshit, depending upon where it is, over the winning the gold in the hockey and against Canada. Okay. All right. Okay. I understand. It was pretty good. But enough. Enough with this. Do you know what's going on in the world? Do you have any idea what's going on in the world? It's like, it's true. It's a distraction. But going back to, this is most important. This is so critical. What Candace was talking about was something which I have been talking about, and we've been doing it for the longest time. The fact that there are people right now in the world who believe in things that brings us stuff like MK Ultra and the like. Come here, says, Erika's train wreck speech at high school. Oh, is she scared of what's being exposed and can't think straight or drunk? Yes. At that, thank you for bringing that up. I saw that White House, or that high school speech, and I noticed, what's with the Michelle Obama, those meatballs they have on their hair? What do you call that? Is there a style for that? Those meatball things. What is that? It's this. Do you understand? You're trying to lure. Who is your audience? Teenagers. What are you trying to do? Be special. Remember Charlie. Conservative is good. Old-fashioned is good. Family values are good. If Charlie were here, he'd say, don't have sex until you're married. And it may sound old-fashioned. I mean, she would have embodied, emboldened. She would have reminded people of what he actually stood for. But instead, I know what you mean. I saw that and I thought, dear God, am I seeing something? Can this possibly be? Does anybody ever talk to her? Does anybody, I wouldn't be surprised. I know this may sound crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody along the way said, we really don't like her and we want to see her screw up big time. So what we're doing is we hope that when she goes out there, she hopes it's really stupid so that we'll be able to pick up the pieces, which is a different story. Marnie says, Daddy went to heaven to afford blueberries. What a traumatic thing to say to a child. I'm with you 100%. What was the whole bit about? He was going... Now, if what Candace is saying is true, okay, we'll get to this in a moment. He had to get up early the next morning, so he slept in the daughter's room because he's going to get up early. What the hell did that mean? I don't give a damn what time I get up or she gets up. We're sleeping in bed. What is this? That's the whole... What? I don't understand. What? That's where you... That's where you sleep. I mean, do you think that they think what they're saying? Do they think about this? Do they honestly think? Or do they figure that, because I'm telling you, remember, one of the problems is she's not that bright. Does she not understand what the act is? And the act, listen, she had to. I'm not saying she never felt sadness. I'm not suggesting. But she goes directly into this thing. I showed you last night the picture of the woman she sat next to, the mother of that poor Ukrainian girl who was stabbed. This mother couldn't even speak. And as Candace brings up, the way Kobe Bryant's wife acted, people speak in a very solemn, they've almost cried out. They're almost now past the cry into the state of shock. And it's almost, and I'm sorry to say this, I told you this before. When you want to be performative, you know what I would tell her? I would tell Erika, you don't have to do this. Go out this time and say nothing about yourself. Try this. Go out and say how you're going to help people. There she is. Hey, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly. You're a good egg. Go out and say to people, this is what I think. Charlie believed in young people and believed in you. And if you love him, you'll go out and not donate. Don't forget the donation. That comes with it. Just say, go out and be the best person you can. Read the Bible. Learn the Bible. We have a lot of on-site or online classes and benefits for you to learn the Holy Word. This is what everybody would recommend, where she would want people to think, my God, she really does mean something. She means this. That's it. If she said, go out there and do, what would Charlie do right now? What would he do? He would say, we have to love. Oh, my God. And now, let me ask you this very quickly. What is the story? What is her message? Tell me. What is her message right now? Tell me. Tell me. Tell me when Charlie ever talked about himself. Though he talked sometimes. Remember when they were talking about how they met and that story? Do you think Charlie knew? You think maybe Charlie suspected? Do you think maybe... I think Charlie, I love that guy. I don't know him, never met him. But I think there was a part of him, which might have been maybe the reason for his goodness. I think he was kind of naive. He wasn't worldly. I don't think he's... And that's a good thing. I don't think he was contaminated with a lot of, predatory women or people who wanted to do him harm. I don't think he really understood how he possibly, and I'm going to say this, I don't know if it's true, if you agree, but I think he felt almost blessed and almost bulletproof because all he was doing was trying to spread the good word. I'll bet you he probably thought, what am I saying? I don't pose a threat to anybody. I don't pose a threat to anybody. My message is one of peace. My message is love. Why? He spoke about political things we suspect otherwise, some might, but he wasn't overt about that. What was that about? What was his message? What's her message? I don't know. Her message is, leave me alone. Don't talk bad about me. Stop. Remember that? Stop. Stop. And now imagine you're 15 years old. You're saying, what am I? I'm not doing anything. Stop. What stop? Now, there is going to be a merger, a concatenation of a lot of things. Candace is going to do this. They really should call it Erika Kirk, This Is Your Life. Or This Is Your Lie. Might be better. Because that's what she's doing. Next, we're going to get into the forensics part of it. Let's look at the criminal case. And let's look at how difficult it would be for a prosecutor to prove a case against Tyler. You know what I'm saying? This is a good one. This is going to be good. This is where I know a little bit about. As a former prosecutor and a licensed lawyer, I see big time. Where is that kid now? Who is watching that kid now? Let me tell you something you got to worry about the prison system. There's so many moving parts and so many people there, and there's a lot of great people in our correction system. But remember the two losers who were watching Epstein? Remember that? They were online shopping and then they fell asleep, so they say. Ever since the black art of poison, there was something in the business called noose on a bun. And whenever you get somebody who is there, you can serve him a variety or her a variety of things that may have the initial component of something which, when merged together, when merged and combined with something else in this kind of like this binary combination, it becomes something lethal. And that's why they call it noose on a bun. And when they do a tox screen or body chemistry, a tox screen or blood chemistry post-mortem, you might see an elevation of potassium or something, but nothing that shows OD. That's why, Tyler, when you really want to protect people, you take them out of the system, and by virtue of some kind of cooperation agreement, you take them to a federal facility. Might be an Air Force base, not a cell perhaps, but something that could be a cell. And you have him in a room where he is watched, and you don't want him to go crazy. You don't want him to be in solitary. You don't want him to go nuts. You want him to be able to perhaps help out, though that might help his insanity defense if he tries to posit that. But what you do is you have him, look at things and not lose his mind. But they have special devices, special monitors, special cameras that detect different things, changes in body temperature, so that if all of a sudden he's losing body temperature, and that's weird. When it starts, there are different signs that these particular lenses, if you will, not the Guthrie Nest camera, which is another story, and you keep him away from everybody else. What's up, Unc? Love you all, Lionel Nation. Thank you, Big Dickie. Thank you, my friend. And you move him because I'm telling you. And I'm not one to say something is going to happen because I don't want it to. And I don't know. But it would make complete and total sense. Do you not agree that if something were unfortunate to happen to him now, that would end that matter? And we, or they, could forever write history however they see it. They could say whatever they want about him, which is so critical. I want you to kind of get this again. As to the matter of Tyler Robinson's potential trial, that's coming up. And that's something which I think after, I hope Candace does a deep dive on that because she's splendid no matter what she does. But that's the next thing. He's critical to this. If he sat, let me ask you a question. If he was in trial and he said, I didn't do that. I wanted to do that. I showed up wanting to do that. But when I realized I can't hit that. Let's just assume. What if somebody said, do we know he's going to be there? Yes. For reasons we don't know? Good. We will make sure that the job is done, but that he will basically be an unwitting co-conspirator to another group of people who were doing that, to another group of people. Thank you. Another group of people. You see what I'm saying? What if somebody was the inadvertent co-conspirator of something who never realized that they were actually going to be a part of this? They didn't know. They didn't know this. And wait till you hear the facts of the case. Wait till you hear it broken down. And all you have to do is create in the jury's mind the sense of, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Now, if somebody were to ask, and the good news is, why would somebody want Charlie eliminated? Why? Your guess is as good as mine. You can have at it with that one. But that's the next one. That's the next case. So what I respectfully submit is I hope they're watching this young man, because if he were to go bye-bye, it ends everything. And then they can write whatever particular story they want. Now, back to what I said initially. When somebody meets you and you go online, what would it, did she talk about? She talks about an hour, almost such a thing today, Candace. I don't remember the exact time. But if you go online, this is what I'm going to do. I'm letting you in on this. When somebody says, she's a demon, I'm going to say, interesting. By the way, interesting is my answer to everything that somebody will ever tell you. If it's a job or a boss or somebody tells you something completely stupid about your job, I always say, interesting. So I will say, very simple question. I will say, interesting point of view here. But what exactly what point did Candace say that you disagree with? What is it? And they, of course, will not be able to answer. Hold them to it. Remember, don't fight them. When somebody tells you this, say, oh, that's interesting. You know what? I want to talk to you about this. You obviously know a lot about it. Let me give you a little trick. If you're out with friends, I've been doing this one for years. Everybody's got a friend who's a real pain in the ass, a real know-it-all. Everybody's got a friend like that. You think this guy thinks he doesn't know anything? Okay. So it works something like this. You're at a table, you're out eating or something, family get together, and there's this pain in the ass son-in-law, brother-in-law, whoever it is. And you say, you know, Dave, I got to admire you. You know, Dave here is a news junkie. And Dave watches everything, reads a lot, and I respect you, Dave. I respect you a lot. Because if anybody would know Dave, it would be you, sir. It would be you. But Dave, I've got a question for you, and I need your help. And if anybody would know this, and you build them up, so that they have to answer the question. Because if anybody would know, it's Dave. Dave knows. Dave, what exactly is the Federal Reserve? Explain that to me. And then wait. Don't say anything. Just wait. And watch the expression on his face. Watch his eyes, bat his eyes. Just as I thought. So, with Candace, say, interesting point of view. Meghan McCain, fascinating. I respect your opinion. What exactly did Candace say today that you disagreed with? Because for the life of me, and you got to watch what she says, I don't even think she mentioned Erika kind of hardly at all. She talked about family members, and maybe there might have been something rather, dare I say, sinister in her provenance, as we say. But what exactly did she say? Why are you so mad at her? What did she say? Tell me. Did you see her? Have you watched Erika? Yeah. Tell me, if your wife had died tragically, would you have done that? Would you have would you lay kind of, not prostrate or prone over the open casket body of your wife so that people can see her hand that she once, manicured meticulously, the hand that held your hand and held the hands of your children? Would you ever do this? Would you ever do this and have people do it so that you can tell people, creating some message that, see? Would you do that? Is there anything that you wouldn't do? Is there anything that you wouldn't do? Is there anything? I even see a lot of times some of the stuff that happens with old conversations and lovey-dovey stuff. It's almost like, see, we were. It's almost like validation. It's like, why are you doing that? Is there anything that you don't agree to or submit to or admit? Is there anything at all? Is there anything at all? Tell me. What have you said no to? What have you said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. Do you think it at all odd, 6 days or so after the death of the man that you love, the father of your children, you go on this weird kind of a Zoom call and you're talking about merch sales and you're giddy, you're just effusive. You are happy beyond happy. You can't say enough. Is there anything about that? Oh, our good friend Brad Runge. Brad Runge always liked to tell us this. Today in 1993, a truck bomb exploded in the parking garage of the North Tower of New York World Trade Center. 6 people died and injuring more than 1,000. Thank you, Brad. Brad always likes to bring us full circle. What do you think, Brad? Is there anything that people... Are we supposed to not say anything? I mean, seriously. Are we supposed to not say anything? Because the best they've been able to do is, she's a widow. Don't do it. Now, what I'm telling you right now is simply this. Number one. Repeat after me. This is the article of faith. This is the affirmation of faith. Number one. I'm interested in this case because I'm interested in this case. I don't have to explain it to anyone. If you disagree with me, great. I'm sure there's a lot of things you disagree with me about. Number three, I care about facts. I don't care about the way people look unless their behavior is inconsistent with something that they're trying to portray. This is not personal. It's not just mean. It's not just being spiteful. Had Erika just gone away shortly thereafter, like a lot of wives and spouses would have been, almost paralytic, or paralyzed, I should say, over this, as many would have done. Had she done that, this would have been over. This would have never come up. Never. And number four, when you went after Candace, that's when I started to say, now, wait a minute. Wait. What was that? Come again now, Candace. What was that? Why? Because you must be onto something. Because you only take flack when you're over the target. Tell me again about that. Well, why are they saying you were a demon? And they're all saying it in unison. Why is that? Why can't she say that? And then, do you think that somebody got Dan Bongino and said, come here, Dan. Come on. What's the matter with you? And tomorrow, remember, today and tomorrow, they're going to be crazy. I know they didn't listen anything to the provenance and the kind of the genealogy and who's who. I mean, there's no way they did, because I don't think Erika was mentioned hardly at all. So, my friends, remember this. First, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share this opportunity with such great people, great as yourself. I mean that. I told you this before, and I get them every now and then. You got to get some. But it doesn't really matter. But I thought, I never really read comments, but now you're able to crystallize this better than anything imaginable. I put this kind of crowdsource reaction up to anything. And I mean this. You listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything at all outrageous. Listen to Candace. Does she have facts? If you're going to say something about her, refute it with something. Just don't call her names. Am I acting? Is that ridiculous or what? Maybe it is. I don't think so. I think it just kind of makes sense. I think it makes complete and total sense. There we go. Hang on a minute. Brad says Harvey Weinstein hired Luigi Mangioni's and Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers to represent him at his third New York trial. I know nobody wants to hear this. Maybe now's not the forum. But there's a lot about him where he was railroaded. I know you're going to say, he's a terrible man. He might be a terrible man. But even terrible men determine or deserve due process. And there's something very scary about somebody who says, we're going to bring in old witnesses who aren't on trial now, who never filed any charges, but we're going to bring them back. So if we can't get you on this case, we're going to bring some woman who says, and 25 years ago, he did the same thing to me. So we're going to double the witnesses, even though they've never been listed as a victim. Oh, there's something very, very wrong. I want due process for everybody. Does anybody here think that Tyler Robinson's going to get a fair trial? Who thinks that? Anybody? I mean, do you care about him? He's not particularly likable, lovable, right? Weird guy. His girlfriend, boyfriend, gay lovers, a fuzzy or whatever it is. What difference does that make? He is entitled to the, and I have this right here all the time. Right here. This is my piece. This is my rule book. This is the Constitution. And these, by the way, these are all my stickers from all my votes. Because if you don't vote, you can't complain. But this is the thing I care about. Not the flag so much. I mean, the flag is great. It's wonderful. But it's the Constitution. And he's entitled to due process, a speedy to public trial, and all of the other accoutrements that one has. Our good friend says, no, sir, thank you. Thank you, Cole. Appreciate that. But I mean that. There's something. And I was looking so forward to this. Didn't you think today? And I thought, oh my God, where is she? Because I'm looking is it normally 5:30 or 6 or, anyway, there it is. So anyway, it was great speaking with you. Also, you've been so incredible to my wife at Lynn's Warriors here on YouTube. Now remember, she's not a part of this. Her thing is basically protecting children. But she works so hard. Let me tell you something she found out the other day. You're not gonna believe this. Her subject matter is about children, child predation, digital safety, and the like. And also how schools are just basically we're teaching children how to be subjugated, how to lose all critical thinking skills and just become robots. I'm going to tell you a story which blew my mind. She was talking with a friend of hers, young lady, woman who is in a very prestigious university, very well known. The professor, now this isn't children, but give you an idea of our school system. The professor told this woman, do not write in cursive. We don't write in cursive. It gives us anxiety. We print. Did you hear what I just said? They don't write in cursive. If you see today, in fact, they're not even writing at all. I've got a friend of mine who's a 4th grade teacher. In her elementary school, there are kids in the 8th grade who can't read an analog clock. They can't. There are kids today who are so destroyed by virtue of what they live in a world where their whole life they give them this machine and it comes at them. They don't have to track anything because they've never gone out and played ball. They've never walked outside with the ball and said, "Hey, let's throw this," where you have to guess the weight and kind of gauge the throwing and eye-hand coordination and all of this incredible circuitry and mental cerebration that's going on. So they never could do this. They never held anything. They never played, so that they can't write they can't use a pen. They can't read. They can't track because they're used to things coming at them. They can't write because they don't hold anything. They don't play. They don't ride bikes. They don't confabulate, conviviate. They don't discuss. They don't do anything. So what I'm saying is, when all is said and done, we are royally effed up to the point of... So anyway, that's what we need to worry about in addition to this. So thank you for following her at Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. Again, this is not her thing. This is my thing. But I've got a lot of concern. What we're doing to children there, and also what's happening with AI. We won't get to that right now. So thank you for this. We'll be back tomorrow. I believe Candace has another one. And if you don't mind, I would be honored for you to join me in this. You have been more than kind. And I mean this. I never, ever thought this case would be as interesting as it is. And and this sounds corny, I never thought I'd meet such great people like yourself. It's really, I was kind of thinking that maybe the only people on YouTube were just mean. Just, have you had people come at you and say, "Yo, fuck, who are you? Doesn't matter who I am. You, who the fuck, I thought, this is strange. I've never met these people. Look who it is, my friend. Wait a minute. Here comes trouble. This is Luelter. Anyway, Candace has to keep going until the truth is exposed about Charlie Kirk's assassination. If not, our government and the elitists will continue to get away with picking people off as they please. Here, blanking here. Remember what my friend said. We can drown them in our urine. I know that's the worst thing, but he meant that there's so many of us. You can have all the hearings you want. You don't want to make us angry. Remember the great, did you ever watch the Incredible Hulk? David Bannon, Bill Bixby says, you don't want to see me angry. And it's true. I want government, By the way, we need 1,000 likes, my friend. Please, Rick Rohr, thank you, my friend. You know, these likes really put us into a different realm. But there's something about what happens when the following. This is what I would love to see. All the presidents looking out. Like, are they out there? Yeah. Are they mad? They're mad. Oh, no. They're mad. I am a rabid ufologist. I believe that there's something there. I don't know what it is, but I want the government to get your mitts off it and let us see it. It's not yours. It's ours. And don't give me this bullshit about, well, it's military intelligence. No, no. I want to know this. It's mine. But for some reason, the government says, no, 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 we know best. We'll decide. Excuse me, I want to change that. I want to change that. So as you said very, very correctly, I want to make sure you're not going to get away with this. Because if you think you can do that to Charlie, you can think you can do it to us. And you can't. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And we're not done. And we vote. And you don't want to piss us off. You don't want to. So anyway, dear friends, thank you. Thank you all for your kindness, for your great and wonderful words. We will see you tomorrow, same bad time. Stay connected. Stay involved. And until we meet each other again, my friends, remember this, as I always say. Well, I normally say the monkey's dead, the show's over. So, by the way, I'm also doing overnights on WABC, where that's another story. That's, put it this way, that's Art Bell meets Alex Jones. Say what you want about Alex. He was the first one to the game, the first person involved in this. He put everybody on the map. They'll never forget our elders, so to speak, even though I'm significantly older than he is. In any event, my friends, have a great and glorious night. See you tomorrow. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. And, as I always say, comment as you see fit. Ta-ta.